I'm doing a video because after I got through talking about the host of the view and all of that kind of stuff and the different types of coronavirus tests, I remembered that I actually have a coronavirus test here in the bathroom. So I'll go get that and I'll try to explain, the antigen test, because that's the one that you can buy at the CVS. You can buy the PCR test out of CVS also, but it's like 120 some dollars. And this test is like $23. Well, it was $23 online. And when I got to CVS, for some reason, they wanted to charge me $26. I don't know, some type of markup taxes, whatever the fuck it is. But anyway, I wound up paying about $26 for it at CVS. And I brought it home and I did a little test and got the results. I'll just explain exactly what the antigen test is. And all this fear out here about these tests is just BS. So I'll open it. I'll go get the test now and get it open. All right, this is the test here. You can see it says BinaxNOW COVID-19 test. It's got 2 tests in the box. So we'll go through this and hopefully ease some fears. So let's see what we can do here. All right, first and foremost, pay no attention to my messy table. It's got a bunch of crap up here, but anyway. But this is the BinaxNOW test. And on the box, it tells you it's the antigen test right there. Antigen self-test for infection detection. Okay, so here's what's contained in the test. It says it's a rapid test for qualitative detection of COVID-19 antigen in nasal swab specimens. The contents in this box is 2 test cards, 2 nasal swabs, and 2 reagent bottles. Tells you the degree to store this stuff at. And up here is some important information. I don't know, it don't look like on this camera these letterings is clear, but we'll try to get through this. It says this product is not FDA cleared or approved, but has been authorized by FDA under the EUA. This product has been authorized for detection of proteins from SARS-CoV-2, not for other viruses and pathogens. That's important because you know that this test is designed to detect the proteins. The PCR test is designed to detect something on a molecular level. The emergency use of this product is authorized for the duration of the declaration of that circumstances exist justifying authorization of emergency use for detection and or diagnosis of COVID-19 under section 564B1 of the Federal Food, Drug, Cosmetic Act of 21 USC and blah, blah, blah. All right, so all of that probably won't even make it in the video, but let me show you what, because I've used one already and I'll show you what's in here. When you open the box, well, you would have normally 2 of these test cards. There's only one in here because I used one. You would have a cotton swab and you have the reagent which you put on your test card to detect if the virus is on the card. Here's why I don't understand all this confusion, right? Everything that we get comes with instructions, right? And if you just look at the instructions of this test, this is probably the most important document in the box. But I see a lot of people, whenever they open stuff, they just throw the instructions away. They don't read the instructions and they don't understand the instructions. But you got one that's in Spanish and then the other one that's in English. But let's take a look at this card right here. It says fact sheets for individuals. This answers a lot of questions that people have. It says what is COVID-19, and it goes on to tell you what COVID-19 is. Let's see what's important. Okay, let's go right here. It says what are the difference between antigen tests and other COVID-19 tests? The differences are there are different kinds of tests for COVID-19. Molecular tests, also known as PCR. That's the PCR test, the molecular test. Detect genetic material from the virus. That's what you're looking for when you're using the PCR test, genetic material from a specific virus. And then it says the antigen test detects proteins from the virus. Antigen tests are very specific for the virus. This is why I don't want people, you got the instructions and the understanding of what these tests are right here in the box if you read it. Antigen tests are very specific for the virus, but are not as sensitive. This means that a positive result is highly accurate, but a negative result does not rule out infection. These are these false positives that we're talking about. And that's what I was telling you on the other video. The company is acknowledging, they're actually telling you, yes, the test works and you may get some readings that might be off. You still need to exercise caution. But my point with showing you this is that if you don't understand the difference between the PCR test and the antigen test, here you have it right here in the test kit explaining the differences. Okay, let's look at this FDA stuff. Is this test FDA approved? No, this test is not yet approved or cleared by the United States FDA. FDA may issue an emergency use authorization when certain criteria are met, which includes that there are no adequate approved availabilities of alternatives. This is why, and it's emergency and not approved by the FDA, because there's no other test out there to test for coronavirus. So they had to go ahead and get this thing out to the public so people can start conducting these tests, right? All this other stuff about why it ain't approved by the FDA, it spells it out right here in the damn package. Coronavirus showed up. They needed something to test the public. The FDA process, how long it takes to go through the FDA process, it would have taken too long, and people would have still been getting sick and very ill and perhaps dying before they approved it through the FDA, through the regular procedures. So they gave an emergency use authorization to say, go ahead and use these tests. We know these tests work. We know that the PCR test detects the virus on a molecular level, and the antigen test for the virus's protein. So yes, go ahead and use the test. But here's all this question about the FDA, and all this mystery is solved if you just open a damn box and read it. Okay, the emergency use authorization test is supported by the Secretary of Health and Human Resources, HHS. Declaration that circumstances exist to justify emergency use of in vitro diagnostic for detection and or diagnosis of the virus that causes COVID-19. The emergency use authorization will remain in effect, meaning that the test can be used for the duration of the COVID-19 declaration justifying the emergency of the IVDs unless it is terminated or authorization is revoked by the FDA, after which the test may no longer be used. What are the approved alternatives? There are no approved alternatives for the antigen test. Any tests that have received full marking status, cleared, approved, or opposes the emergency use authorization by the FDA can be found by searching the medical devices database here, and they give you a website. So all of this stuff about the FDA and all this questioning and why it's not approved by the FDA, these people are asserting things and saying things about the why it's not approved. But I mean, it's simple to me. We know the FDA, there's a certain way that they approve shit, right? They approve our food, they approve everything, medicines, all that shit, right? So it takes a process for it to get approved. And when it's not approved, and you got a situation like we got, people actually dying from this virus, and they need something that they know works, I understand why it was an emergency use authorization to go ahead and let people get hold of these tests and actually start testing for the virus. Because like I said, the PCR test for the molecular gene of the virus, of coronavirus, and the antigen test for the coronavirus protein. So there you have it. Okay, so you have that, and then you have the instructions on how to perform the test, the scary stuff, right? It tells you in the box that you have your swabs, your test card, your droplets, and just have a clock available so you can tell when it's over with. The first thing you do is take the card out and you lay it on a flat surface. It said make sure that the blue line is present in the window, so that you have a blue line on the card. Open the card flat, and then you open it up, and it's telling you not to touch that strip right there on the inside of the card. All right, the reagent is the next step. So once you get the card open, there'll be two holes there, right? Inside of the card, those two holes there'll be two holes. So you take this reagent and you twist the top of it off, and you drop 6 droplets inside of this hole right here. All right. Now here, right here, it even tell you right here, a false negative may occur if less than 6 drops are put into the hole. It tells you that you know, it's telling you to watch out. You know, don't rely 100% on this thing, but it can help you out. Okay, so next thing to do is get your swab. Now, and you can see it's a cotton swab. There's nothing special about this thing. People say that, you know, when you take the test, you're actually putting the virus in your body and all that kind of stuff. That's just not true. This is a regular cotton swab. It's kind of long, but it's a regular cotton swab. So you take the cotton swab, you open it up, right? And then you insert the swab into both nostrils. You don't stick them all the way up there. You go down about a ½ inch and swerve around 5 times in one nostril, and then swerve around 5 times in the other nostril. That's taking the test. And then you take from that point, and then actually, did you swab both nostrils? The next step is you take the cotton swab that you just swabbed your nostrils with, and you slide it under the hole. Remember, we put the liquid in the top hole, right? So you slide the cotton swab under the first, up under and in the first hole, and then ensure that it makes contact with that top hole, and then you twist it around 3 times in that solution, in that region that you put in there. And it's telling you, do not skip this step. Leave the swab in for the remainder of the test. Okay, it says false negatives again can occur if the swab is not turned. Once you do that, you peel off the adhesive on the side of the card, and then you close the card back together. Press firmly on the 2 lines on the side of the card. Then you wait 15 minutes. Once you wait your 15 minutes, you go and read the lines on the card. And here is what it's supposed to look like. The control line is going to be there always. If you have any line here on the second part, then that means you most likely got coronavirus in your system. Even if it's a very, very faint line, then that means it looks like there's some coronavirus in your system. So a full line and a faint line is equal to a positive result if you got any line. Now, what would happen if you don't have coronavirus is this will be completely empty. It'll look like it did when you just put it in there. So it gives you some examples on how faint the line can be from test results. That one there is so faint that you can't hardly see it, but you know there's something there. If it's a faint line, that means you may have coronavirus. Okay, so for negative results, find the results window and look for the single pink or purple line in the window. Negative results, if you can only see one pink or purple line on the top half where it says control, then that means COVID-19 was not detected. So this is what it will look like whenever you got a negative result. You'll still have that top control line, but you won't have anything in the bottom. What else? If you see any of these test results, the test is invalid. So it's telling you what an invalid test result will look like. If you see any of these things, an invalid test means that the test was unable to determine whether COVID-19 or not, whether you have COVID-19 or not. A new test is needed to give a valid result. And please call that number if you get an invalid test result. All right. And once you're done, throw it in the trash can, and that's it. That is it. The big scary COVID test. No, it's not even that, guys. It's just that people complicate things because people are fear. People are scared of what's really going on. You know, they come up with their own solutions and their own answers. Unfortunately, in this situation like this, it's really dangerous to do that. There's nothing harmful about these tests. There's nothing in these tests. As you can see, it's almost like if you've ever taken a drug test, or I see how people take these pregnancy tests in the bathroom and get the results, the lines show up and all that kind of stuff. It's an antigen test. That's what it is. It's just like any other test that you've taken before that you have to wait on these results for over a certain time period. And that's it. The big scary COVID test is not big and scary whatsoever. So that's it. The BinaxNOW COVID test. And they give you 2 tests in the box, right? The reason that they give you 2 tests is for serial testing. Once you take a test and you come up with a positive results, you can wait a certain amount of time and take another test to validate your finding. And if you take a test and you get a negative result, I know when you've been feeling ill or whatever, you wait a certain amount of time, take another test, then that can validate that you only got a cold or whatever. You don't have any coronavirus in your body. So that's how this thing works. There's nothing to it. And I really appreciate the technology that brought this stuff into society, because that's what I was worried about, is going out, finding the testing site, getting in line with other testers. Just the wait. We seen lines on TV and all that kind of stuff. Now that they made it convenient for you, you can go to CVS, pick you up a test, come home, take your test, find out the results. And I think this is really convenient. I still think that it's a little pricey. When they first came out, it was extremely high. And then this is down to $23. But for everybody to have access to it, I think that they need to go ahead and lower the price on these tests, so people can have more access to it. So you can conveniently have a test available for you. That way you will know that you're able to be tested whenever. And I know that you can probably drive to these locations and get tested for free, but the convenience of being in your home testing, come on, just to have that knowledge, and then you can take actions immediately to do whatever you need to do to isolate, to quarantine, or whatever. But yeah, that's it. This is the BinaxNOW antigen test. Now, I don't know if I'm going to get a PCR test, because those things are kind of pricey. I think the one that I seen was like $123 or something like that. I don't know if that's going to be something that I would do. And they've got another antigen test too, and I have to see how much that one costs. But it's easy, guys. Just test yourself. You don't have to trust no doctors, trust no medical facility. Go buy your test and test yourself. It's pretty clear, straightforward, no big deal.